don't know whether you can get me clearly. Let me.
Yes, you can.
Now, I'm saying that it's important that we be able to understand, first of all, the time that we are in, the importance of it, and the things that we need to be doing in order to ensure that heaven continues cooperating with us and we are able to bring the agenda of heaven. The major agenda of heaven there is one. At this point in time is the return of Christ. All the rest have been accomplished, but when Christ comes, that is the fulfillment of an age, because it will unreach a new age from the one we are in. We are at the very tail end of an age. The other age that is going to come is the Messianic reign, when Christ is going to be reigning in this earth. And we have a mandate for that. It's not for us to just wait and just wait for heaven to execute its program. It is that we are here to cooperate with the heavens so as to ensure that that is done. And that is with that understanding that we are doing the things we do. I'm going to have to change my projection, what I'm sharing, so that we are able to. I'm just able to illustrate something that is happening in the astrological sphere. Let me just. This is basically the sky right outside. I don't know whether this is the right date today. This is not the right date. I need to get to. If you went outside, this is the state of the sky. I'm not going to go back to the moment. I want to go back to the very view that you'd see. Let me just take away the last so I can see the entirety of the sky, and we don't just see the sphere. We can see that circle. Let me just repeat what I said last week, is that this represents the circle of the sun, and or rather the path of the sun, the orbit of the sun across the heavens, what we see when we observe it from a vantage point here on Earth. And you see the sun is very, very important because it's a very predictable planet. It does move in very distinct and very measurable and very regular motions. We are able to use it to be able to map the essential markers, the gateway points, and the division of houses. And I'm not going to go into that. And clearly, I explained last week that we do have a house that is very, very important here. What I'm going to do, I think I could just take one of these screens and display it. I think with the PowerPoint now, this is the state of affairs in the sky. Maybe some minutes ago, not exactly now, but again, I said I wanted to illustrate the point we said that the sun is the essential marker for us and its pathway, because if you joined, this is what we call the Equinox Point. As you can see, the sun is heading towards this point here that are alive in just less than a couple of months to come. And we use that to divide the sky into two hemispheres. This is the lower hemisphere, where the sun is for the first 6 months when it's going through its descent. It represents the force of darkness. And that is why we do the creative. We use that to divide the sky into two hemispheres. This is the lower hemisphere, where the sun is for the first 6 months when it's going through its descent. It represents the force of darkness. And that is why we do the creative cycles that correspond with the masculine energy, or the masculine creative energy that is seeding and brooding, if you're doing and observing times and according to the sun, and the indicators and the signs that the sun is able to give. This would be the area of your seeding. And then we have the upper area, which is where we do the sun is domiciled in the last 6 months of a year, sometimes 7. And this is the area that represents the feminine creative energy, or light, darkness and light. That is what. But we do divide this heavenly sky. This, again, I'm repeating what I said last week. We divide it into that also they can be able to portion out houses. And now I wanted to zero in on the house that is very important. This is the house that is defined here. Let me just change the color of my pen, if I can. If I use a yellow tint, it will be visible enough. because I want us to think about this particular house, which is of importance at this time. Okay. I need to erase that. Okay. Let me just use again the pen and illustrate for us. This is house number 5. Begins right at this point. It extends far beyond the domains where the sun goes and the planets go. Yes, so that one, beginning from the south all the way to the north, if we were to mention the north now, it's not really, in this view is represented as the whole width and the length of this graphic, but in actual fact it's just a point. So this is the house number 5, and this is house that we call House Kabel. House Kabel is domicile. It's at this point in our age and in our time, is occupied by a host that we call the Leviathan. In a moment, I'm going to just go back over this, what I think maybe, let me just go back to that so that we can be able to understand. I understand that maybe some of us may not have been very familiar with some of the things that we're doing. Let me just illustrate, and seems like I don't have the entirety of the points that I need. I've explained before, so I'm going to go very quickly, and I'll, at this point here, let me go back to the presenter notes. I'm good to at this point, at this line, if I use a razor pointer here, from this edge to this edge, that is the celestial equator that divides the houses of heaven into 2 distinct circles. That's what we basically are able to see from the planetarian software. And this we have house 1, house 2, house 3, 4, and then a house we call 5, and we call it Kabel, house 6, and then we name them back all the way to house 12. If you go, we see that this also corresponds. There is some hosts that occupy these houses. We begin again with the first house. The first house, if you need to get anything, if you don't get anything else, just get in that first house. We have Virgo, the maiden, occupying the first house. The house that we are interested in is house 5. It is the Leviathan. This is a way to see them together with all, with the houses and the hosts superimposed over each other. So now if I go to the other screen that I was using, and that means I'll have to draw again the very drawings I had done before. Oh, good. They're there. So here we have House Kabel. And House Kabel, as you can see, there's plenty. I don't know how well you're able to zoom in. Let's say it's better if you can zoom in with your what you'll be able to see that at this point in time we have a sun, we have planet Saturn, and we have planet Mercury. Mercury is actually inside Kabel, but within the next couple of days it's going to go out. Now what I wanted to do is go back to a day like today, or rather let's move a couple of days to come, and we see the kind of so I'm going to move forward in 2-3 days. Today is 25th, so we need about 4 days towards the end of the year, towards the end of the month. Let's get to the 29th day of our month, which will be, I think, 31st of January. Okay, it will be 1st of February actually. Oh yeah, good. Let me just bring up that screen and show us the, oh yeah, so here we are in the very last one. So this is what is going to happen on the last day of our month, and this is the 29th day of the 5th month. And what we see is that again we have in here we have the sun, we have moon and Mercury. It's another conjunction that is happening. And I want us to move to last year and be able to take a look at what was happening at the very same day. And this is the House of Kabel on. This was House Kabel, not on. And I want us to move to last year and be able to take a look at what was happening at the very same day. And this is the House of Kabel on. This was House Kabel, not on the first year, but rather in the second year, in the first year rather. This is the first year of our calendar. So this would be, oh yeah, and this was exactly the view. Now, if you remember clearly, this would have been around, as you see, this is the 20th of, no, rather it's the 11th of February. This corresponded to the 29th day of our 5th month, that day which we are coming to have in about a month's time. Sorry, in about 4 days' time. And we had a great, this is the great, the grand conjunction that was happening within Kabel that we were waiting for. And we needed to be able to discern certain things. And previously to this, we had managed even to download the name for this house and be able to get what is important about it. At this point in time, last year was very, very crucial. If you could be able to zoom in, if you can zoom in, you can actually just pinch out if you're using your phone or your screen, and you'll be able to see that last year it was a little bit different. We had a total of 6 major planets. All 6 major planets were congregated together in House Kabel. It indicated something that was of a release of an energy that was essential for our becoming. At the time, he didn't understand, but it was very important for something of a priestly nature that is being established within us. And we needed to do certain things at that time. At this period of time, I'm just actually a few days before we had finished one of the landmark moments of the first year of our calendar of a kingdom age that we had instituted, and that was the very important conference that we were holding in our place of worship. And we managed to inscribe something in that very formation of the planet. This year we happen to be a lot more cognizant of the things that we need to do, and we've been moving forward in that same with much greater understanding. At this point in time, what I would like to see, if you can zoom in, you see that we have a being, it's called Capricorn, that is the host of House Kabel. But in our understanding and the Christian literature that we read, we know this being has quite another name. That is what we call the Leviathan. Now, just before I go out of context, what I would like you to see is that previously to that, the only planet that was not in Kabel and therefore was not hosted by the Leviathan was Mars. Mars was in House 8. House 8 is the place where we have the division between two beings. We have what we call the land, or what other systems talk about, Aries. And then we have what we call the bull, which is the behemoth. And today I want us to go into a deeper understanding of these beings, because especially the Leviathan is very, very important to our becoming and the times we are in. And therefore, just as it will be important in about 4 days' time, when this time you'll have 3 instead of 6 planets, but still of great importance at this time, because basically actually the planets that will be out of that conjunction is actually Jupiter, which has managed to move out of House Kabel within the past few months, and then there is Venus and Mercury. Venus and Mercury, as you're going to be seeing in the days coming, they are actually very close companions of the Sun, and they bring about a feminine grace towards the things that the Sun signifies. But we have the Moon there, we have Saturn, which is actually itself androgynous. And there is again going to be a marker. What is important is that actually on the very exact date that we are coming to, of that anniversary, and that is coming in about 4 days' time. We again have the moon moving into House Kabel in accordance. That is why it's important to move with our calendar. Because like now, if you look at the Gregorian calendar, they are very disparate days. This was 11th of February. It was about 11th, I think, about 11th of February. But this year we are talking about something happening across on I think on the 28th of January. Yes, so there is quite a distance of almost 2 weeks in between those. What if you're looking at the Gregorian calendar? But within our calendar, these anniversaries are falling on exactly the right day on which we managed to inscribe something and what we need to. But now, and what we need to harness actually again from that kind of alignment. But what exactly is this alignment? What is exactly is this that we are able to harness? What exactly are we supposed to understand? What is it that is represented by the host of house number 5, House Kabel, the one we know as Leviathan, and which the Bible and the ancient people of God have so much to say about. So today we are about to begin a new series of teaching, and I hope that I'll be able to do it within the next couple of weeks or so, within the next about three meetings, and we call it harnessing, or rather taming and harnessing the Leviathan. So that is like the topic of our teaching. And